My name's Alyssa. I am a brand designer slash studio owner. I own my own graphic design studio. It's completely remote. I focus on women of color owned brands, but also like POC owned brands, LGBTQIA owned brands. I do a lot of work with branding, websites, packaging, and also social. I've been doing it for about 2 years now. And now I'm in New York. And that's pretty much it.
So to sum up my connection with Alyssa, I met her through TikTok and her content ended up getting me inspired to start doing redesigning stuff. I later on attended a free workshop she was hosting, got obsessed, and when she posted an opening for a summer intern in her business, I applied. Ended up not getting the internship, but since she liked my video editing, I did a video for her design camp, which was an honor. And a couple months later, as you know, I moved from Portugal to New York, realized she is living a couple of minutes away from me, so here we are.
Funny because, you know, living in Portugal, I never knew the people that I was talking from America. So I didn't even realize you were from New York. And then I was seeing like Insta stories and scrolling, and you were like saying something about New York. And I was like, oh my God, she's in New York.
Today we're here with Alyssa. I was so excited. Honestly, like, New York is such like a lonely city sometimes. So I was like, yeah, let's connect and whatever. So I also love meeting people out from the internet. I just think it's like funny, not scary. It's not like meeting up with somebody from like Tinder or anything. In the morning, I like wake up, get ready. The time that I wake up really varies because sometimes I do like to hang out with my friends till like late, and it's kind of bad. I like to wake up at 9, but sometimes it's 10, 10:30. I wake up, I get ready. I usually eat breakfast. I love me like the yogurt parfait. And then I sit down at my monitor, or I like will grab all my things and go to a coffee shop. First thing I always do is I answer all my emails, or I try to. I have like a digital like to-do list. Kind of look at things I have to accomplish for the day. I also look at my calendar and see like what meetings are going on. I look if I should prepare anything, and usually the first 2 hours of my day are kind of like prep for whatever is going on. So then I usually just work on my first thing, which is usually like designing something like brand guidelines, or maybe like packaging design, or like, I don't know, touching up a website design. And then I usually only just end up actually designing for like 3-ish hours in the day. I don't design that much. Sometimes, if we're being honest, if I'm cutting it close to a deadline, I'll be designing for like 10 hours straight. But I try not to make it that way. Then at the end of the day, I do some admin stuff.
Because that's something I feel like a lot of people forget. Is that you're a graphic designer, but you're also like a bunch of other functions.
Yeah, there's like so many things. And like, I'd actually say like, if I have like a 9-hour, 8-hour work day, I'd say like, only 3 of them go to design. I try to make sure my meetings are only like Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So I can have like my Tuesdays and my Thursdays for like, cool. So I can like focus on work. Because calls are just so disruptive to me. And I try to get off at like 5 or 6, and I try and make plans to like make dinner with my roommate, or I'll make plans to go out and meet up with friends. Sometimes I try and go to the gym. I really like to try and cook as much as possible, but I really like meeting up with friends. Like I usually try and only eat out like twice a week if I can, because it's expensive, you know. And
I was literally trying to look for like a $1 slice pizza place today, and I was like, why is every meal $20 here?
There's actually a place really close to me that we can go to if you want. But so I studied English in school. Originally I entered as pre-med. You know, like that's like the running joke. Everyone starts pre-med and no one really ends up in it. And I started doing graphic design for like a campus job, and it was something I was doing like stuff in Canva, and I actually really liked it. And my school was kind enough to grant me access to Adobe, and then I started making posters for different student groups for free. And then all of a sudden people were reaching out to me that like saw those things and like willing to pay me for it, and then kind of just snowballed into this thing. And then I realized I had like a big passion for it.
Yeah, I always forget, because right now I'm like full-time freelancing, but I always forget how it all started, because it was the same thing. Like I've been making videos since 7th grade, and I loved editing them, but I never thought about editing for other people. I just like doing my own stuff. And so someone reached out being like, oh, I love your video editing, I'm needing a video editor, do you want to edit? And I was like, oh sure, it's money, I like doing it, let's go. And then from then on, you know, more people started coming in this creative field. You just go in and things start happening, people start coming.
Whenever you're going into it like, I need to make a career out of this, I think it feels like every client is make or break, or every project is make or break. For me, there was a time when I started to like think of this as a career, and I started to get really anxious working, because I was like, every single thing now that I do will impact my income in the future. But I had to like release myself of that pressure and just like remember I'm literally 22 years old.
Related to like graphic design and then pushing a little bit more into fashion, do you feel like your aesthetic and the graphic design transmits into like your fashion style?
That's interesting. I think like my room right now, it like has all my brand colors, which are like very pastels. I really like pastels. They like mix like having a lot of colors together. Like my design style is very colorful, I'd say. But it has like a touch of like minimal. Like these were originally like candy apple red, like a really ugly red color.
They were.
So I bought paint from Blick and I painted this one. And I painted the pot. This pot was gray. In some ways it does translate because my closet, you can like literally see it.
Literally.
But
on purpose.
I usually wear mostly neutrals. Then I like to have like something colorful. Like today, like with my outfit, I was wearing like bright orange shoes.
I love those shoes.
I was like wearing bright orange shoes. Or I'll wear like a bright like green bag or something. Yeah, so for example, like I just got this Telfar bag that I'm like obsessed with. So like this is an outfit I would totally wear. Like nude pants, white shirt, but then like this green bag. I also have this like bright orange one that I thrifted, which I love. I also have some like interesting colored shoes. I also have this like shirt. Everyone thought it was really ugly when I bought it. I thrifted it, but now that I wear it on the street, I've gotten compliments on it. But I wear it unbuttoned, just like over top like a white shirt and like jeans.
I really like when people have that capacity of just looking at these pieces and seeing them like out of context, because sometimes you're in a thrift store and there's so many like patterns and things that you get overwhelmed, and something that you might look like ugly when it can be really cool. Like,
I like that. I feel that way about design too. I'm like, oh, this is a nice font. They're like, it's ugly, and I'm like, just wait, and I'm like, you'll see. Yeah, sometimes though I'm like, with design and fashion, I'm like, am I boring? Because like sometimes with design, I'm looking at it and I'm like, is there enough going on? So I see people who do like the maximalist stuff, and it's like so fun, it's so cool. Or I see people like on the street, especially in New York, with like they're mixing patterns and they have like tons of color blocking going on. It's like so cool to look at, and then I consider buying items that fit that profile, or consider designing, and I try it out and it's just like not me. It was hard for me to come to terms with, especially in the design world and fashion world, because trends happen so quickly that I want to hop on them.
Humans were made to just like be in contact with their closest like environment, and now with the internet we literally see what every single person is doing.
It's so much stimuli. It's so much stimuli. A lot of people ask me how I found my aesthetic, and it was literally just from like realizing, like letting myself gravitate to what I want to gravitate. You should experiment, but also don't force yourself to try and be other styles.
Yeah, I guess like, it's good trying, but it's not good in forcing to continue it.
I love getting ready. Like I like to get ready every day now, even if I'm working from home. Even if it's not like I'm putting on actual like an outfit or something. I do like do the whole skincare routine and like wash my face, like, and I like do my hair. I try to like leave my apartment at least once in the day. I also feel like I'm not paying how much I'm paying for rent
to stay at home.
Right. It's kind of like I'm paying for the location and paying for the city, and so I really should be exploring and all of that. I love my desktop setup, but I also love a good cafe. I love a good cafe. I'd say it's probably only 2 days out of the week that I just wear home clothes. I'd say the rest of the time I like wear real people clothing. I would say like my favorite work from home outfits are like a sweatshirt or like big sweatpants, but then like a teeny top like this. I don't know why, I just think it's so
No, but I also do that. So.
Yeah, so I have like a bunch of these shorts in like 5 different colors. They just look like this. And like, isn't this such a cute outfit? But it's literally the most simple thing ever. This is like my work from home aisle. Oh my gosh, I think I struggle with this all the time, and it like, and in some ways it gets better, in some ways it doesn't. It's not like other careers, I would say, where you can like, I don't know, like you pass the bar exam, where it's like very clear that you're good, or like that you're qualified. Sometimes I'm like, am I a fluke? Like, is the reason my business is successful because I happen to maybe just like got lucky on Instagram or something? Am my designs good, or am I just like, or do my clients happen to just have low expectations, things like that?
Yeah, I was having this conversation with a friend of mine the other day, because she also did like freelance photography. We were talking about when the client says like, oh, it looks perfect, thank you. We're like, oh, she didn't like it. She just said that. She hated it. And she doesn't have, it's just being nice. Which is stupid, because people are paying us to do things. So obviously like they like our work. So first, probably a lot of people, they're like, why would you even have those types of thoughts? Because it's so logical. Like if you're working for them, it's because like they reached out to you, so you're not doing them any favor. But it's hard.
I think design is very personal. I have a couple of really close friends on Instagram that we've met. I've actually met a couple of them in person. And we like to have very honest conversations about like, you know, I've been struggling with this. I think for a while I felt like my business was so illegitimate. So I was like, oh, I'm struggling to find clients, or it's like clients are like trying to get me to discount things, and I was like, other people don't have to deal with this. But then after talking to people, I actually realized it's a very common thing that people are going through. It's not just me. I had to come to terms with the fact that it was like academia and industry are different, if that makes sense. And a lot of people do think of university or college as like a prerequisite to your career. For me, I was like, what am I really going to need in my career? It's really just like critical thinking skills. I really don't think if I were to try and get a graphic design degree that I would actually be getting like the critical thinking, the communication skills that I was getting from English. I honestly really loved being an English major. So my focus was on like multi-ethnic literature, so like and I think English, I don't even know if people even like know what English majors study, but a lot of it is like we take literature and we like analyze things, and I've like really learned like how to take the nuances of a character and like really understand, and that's helped me a lot with, because my work deals with very sensitive topics like people in marginalized communities, or I try and make sure all of my work on both a visual and written level are it's very socially conscious. So I think that for me, it was like I wanted to study my passion, and then with the hopes that passion allows me to build some sort of like soft skills that will then translate. And it did, luckily for me. I don't necessarily think that your degree determines what you are good at. It determines like what are you passionate about in that moment. Yeah, sometimes I like do feel like, oh, there are probably so many things that I don't know that these like 18-year-olds, you know, or like their first class of the week, or like ever probably learning. But then again, I just kind of think like graphic design doesn't really actually have many rules. Not make or break life and death if I ignore the golden ratio with my logo, you know what I mean? Like, I work with a lot of women of color who come from very specific cultural backgrounds that they don't want those backgrounds to be like tokenized, sold as this sort of like cultural like thing to consume, if that makes sense. Like, for example, I worked with a body butter company. The owner, she's Haitian, and her issue with a lot of hair butter products on the market is that they almost exploit like these very traditional prints from different cultural backgrounds, and it kind of feels like tokenizing. So she's like, I want to reference my Haitian background, but I don't want to literally like take Haiti and put it on like a print. That makes sense, right? So it's like we try and think of ways to take meaning and inspiration from the things that are important to them without kind of like tokenizing them and turning them into these things. I try to do like this one-to-one thing where if I buy something new, I try and
that's cool.
like I try donate one or do something with one. I try not to buy trends. So I think it's like sometimes I do shop a lot at like Zara and H&M, and those aren't the most sustainable businesses at all. But I try and like buy pieces that I think I can wear for a long time.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I have probably met like more creatives in the last like 2 weeks than I have in my entire life otherwise. Like, I made friends with this woman from a cafe. She's a motion designer, so we're gonna collab, and she's gonna animate some of my stuff. I mean, sometimes if you have creative block, there's so many options to like break it. I think I'm more creative because I'm less like burnt out, because I used to have to do homework in addition to working. I just was always tired, I think, when I would have to create, and now I like wake up and I can have a fresh mind and actually be well rested for once. So I definitely think all my work has been better since graduating, for sure.
I think we've talked a lot. I'm probably already running out of memory, but I think we have a lot of good pieces of advice and knowledge to share.
Good. So, this was fun. I am excited. I love your YouTube channel, so I'm excited to be on it. But yeah, I hope it was helpful.
Yeah, I think it was.
Again, this was so fun to make. So thank you, Alyssa, and I'll see you next week. Bye.
It rains, it pours, such a pity. Where you from in Dublin City? I'm drowning in these sheets, purple lens around my